Hey there folks, and welcome back to the Gamer's Grotto. Today we're going to be playing some Vegas Tales. This is a FMV game where you work for Tim Russ, who is best known as Tuvok in Star Trek Voyager. Basically, he plays a casino owner who is dying of cancer and is looking for somebody to take over his casino. So you act as basically his assistant who is conducting an interview of potential clients by asking them various questions. And then we determine at the end, after interviewing all these four separate clients, which one we think would be suitable to take over his hotel franchise when he passes. So that's basically the premise of this FMV game. Many of you are probably aware that I really like FMV games. I've always been a big fan of FMV games ever since I was a kid. You know, the early days, Phantasmagoria, Gabriel Knight, The Beast Within, that kind of stuff. So we're going to hop right into this right now. This is Vegas Tales on the PlayStation 5. This game came out, I would say, a couple of months ago, maybe about 2-3 months ago. Really good, really good. Now, this is not a Wales Interactive game. This is made by a new company that I've not heard of called FMV Interactive, I think they're called. But yeah, so we're going to hop right into this right now. Let's play some Vegas Tales.
Thank you for meeting with me. If this is your first visit to the Bellflower Casino Resort, I hope you're finding it a pleasant one. I've owned this place for over 30 years. Running the Bellflower has been my life's work. A life which is almost over. I have terminal cancer, and I've been fighting it for years, but my time is coming to an end. I've already come to terms with my condition, but it leaves me with a problem. I never found time to start a family, and I don't have any close friends. This hotel is all I have to leave to this world. It's my legacy, but I have no one to carry on that legacy once I'm gone. I need you to help me decide on the best person to inherit the Bellflower. I've made a list of 4 candidates, each of whom has a strong connection to this hotel. Unfortunately, I don't know any of them very well. I've invited them all here for the weekend under the guise that you want to do an interview with them for a book that you're writing about the hotel. Now, they're being paid a healthy stipend for their time, so you'll likely find them willing to answer any questions you may have. I want you to learn everything you can about them and report back to me if you discover anything relevant. Their names are Ashley, Mallory, Sarah, and the last one is a couple of newlyweds named Todd and Becca.
Okay, so unlike most FMV games, this one is kind of very basic. It reminds me of the old style FMV games from the 90s, where a still image would appear and then you'd click on things to say, and then the video would play. It's very reminiscent of those style. I find the acting in this is quite good. All of the actors in this are Hollywood actors from different movies and TV shows and whatnot. Tim Russ did a good job as Mr. Davenport. This is not a terribly long game. As such, I will still be streaming the main games today as well. So after this, I'm going to go into Road 96. We're going to do some more of that. And we're going to bypass on God of War today, and then this evening we're going to be doing some more of LEGO Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. Anyway, we're going to hop right back into this. So basically, we're going to ask him all these questions. Tell me about Ashley, tell me about Mallory, tell me about Sarah, and tell me about Becca and Todd. That way we know more about the potential clients that we will be interviewing. Now, when we go to the other clients, here we are. This is all of 4 people that we're interviewing. So as you can see, there's multiple questions that will pop up. Now, questions will also reveal as we learn more about the character. So as we ask them questions, more questions will appear based on their answers. So the overall goal is to find out if these characters are interested in owning this hotel after Mr. Davenport passes. So we have to learn about their past, their history, if they're going to be suitable clients to be able to run a casino and hotel. Anyway, so we're going to hop right back into this.
Ashley is a magician. She's been holding her magic show here at the Bellflower since we added a theater during our last renovation. She's been here longer than any employee, and she's as financially tied to this place as anybody, aside from myself. She's a private person, so I don't know much about her personal life. Mallory is the unluckiest person I've ever met. She's also one of the nicest. I've never seen so much tragedy befall such an undeserving person. I unfairly gave her a hard time when we first met, but we get along well now. I gave her a complimentary stay here at the hotel to apologize, and she wouldn't stop talking about how much she loved it here. I think she might even like my hotel more than I do. Like the others on my list, I don't know very much about her. Sarah is the daughter of the Goodley family. She's been staying here with her parents on family vacations for years. That family is so wholesome that they make the Brady Bunch seem edgy. They're a welcome breath of fresh air here in Las Vegas, and I love the idea of someone with very strong moral values like Sarah taking over the hotel. I barely know anything about those two. Their names are Becca and Todd. I met them today when they were checking in. They came to Las Vegas to get married, and this trip is also doubling as their honeymoon. Yeah, I know it must seem odd to consider leaving my estate to a couple I barely know, but honestly, I barely know any of the people I'm considering. I figure that if they're staying here for their wedding and their honeymoon, then they're going to have a very strong emotional connection to the Bellflower Hotel. Plus, it almost seems like fate that they happened to check in today while I'm trying to make this decision. I'm counting on you to ascertain whether or not they're good people worthy of consideration as heirs.
I find it very odd how Tim Russ talks in this. He literally sounds like Tuvok to me. I don't know. I don't know of too many people who use the word ascertain very often in a sentence. I don't know. It just, he feels, maybe it's just the fact that that's all I really know him from is Tuvok, and I've never really seen him in anything else aside from this. But he just sounds like Tuvok running a hotel.
I'm Ashley. I live here in Las Vegas. I spend most of my time practicing magic, and I am single. What else do you want to know?
Now, Ashley can come off as very nasty and bitchy, but she's actually not. She's actually quite humorous. I've found myself laughing at some of the things she said. She's very sarcastic. And that's kind of why I probably like her, is because she's just... she's an interesting person.
I've been performing my magic act here since the last time it was renovated. Huh. Never heard of the place before that. I like it here. I like Mr. Davenport, too. He's very hands-off. I appreciate the fact that he doesn't try to give me input about my show. When you're part of a magic show, you spend countless hours practicing. We only perform 4 nights a week, so it would seem like it's an easy schedule, but we spend maybe another 30 hours practicing. More if you're bringing someone new into the show. It's a lot. Oh, it's understandable if you didn't know that I had my own magic act. I'm not on any of the posters. I used to be, but I learned early on that audiences expect a magician to be male. So I hired a male presenting actor as the magician. I started working as the assistant. But ticket sales, foomp, shot way up. I'm not mad about it. My act has actually gotten a lot easier since I started working as an assistant and not the magician. I'll let you in on a little secret. The assistants are actually the ones who perform all the tricks in a magic act. The magician really is just there so that people have something to keep their eyes on. They're gonna watch him, see if they can figure out the trick, see if he's doing anything sneaky. Everyone really just ignores the girls in the shiny outfits. But we're the ones making the tricks work. Now, magic is all about misdirection. The magician is the biggest misdirection of all. You can get away with anything as long as someone's attention is focused on something else. That's the key to all of magic, half of life. Everyone knows it. Nobody cares. Back when I really was an assistant, I worked for a magician, the great Zambini. He based his signature trick on this very thing. See, we were part of a traveling carnival, and our stage was outdoors. At the beginning of the night, the back of the stage, a Zamboni was parked. It was the Zamboni. And he would tell the audience that at some point during the evening, he was going to make the Zamboni disappear and no one would notice. So about halfway through the evening, we would have this assistant come out that the audience had not yet seen. Her name was Kelly. She was particularly alluring. And the other assistants and I would help her up on top of a platform, and we would begin tying her up with scarves. We'd really take our time about it, make it very erotic, and Kelly would wiggle and pout and make these cute little squeaky gerbil noises. While this was happening, Zambini would pull out his keys and drive the Zamboni off stage. And then he'd run back. We would make Kelly disappear in a fairly standard trick, and when it was done, Zambini would be standing where the Zamboni was with his arms outstretched, like he had just accomplished the most amazing feat in the world. And the audience loved it. They would clap like it was the best thing ever. It was grotesquely sexist, but it worked. I haven't talked to her since we worked together. I'm sure she's doing fine. Supremely attractive people have it very easy. I'm sure she married rich or got kidnapped by human traffickers and sold on the black market. Either way, she's living in a big house with someone else paying all the bills. She's great.
What? Got kidnapped by human traffickers and is being sold on the black market. Oh my god.
You can buy anything if you know where to look. I used to buy weed on the dark web before it was legal. I know there are people who buy fake IDs on the internet. Anything. You can find it. They say human trafficking is a $150 billion a year industry, and I want to know how they know that. Are human traffickers reporting income tax, or are they just making up numbers? Oh, I know weed is legal now, but back before it was, everybody would smoke it anyway. You know, it was just one of those crimes you never got in trouble for. Like speeding or practicing medicine without a license. The sale of human organs is a multi-billion-dollar a year industry. And who do you think is taking those organs out of the people who lose them and putting them into the people who need them? I doubt it's someone practicing with a license. But I'm not doing it. I am not involved in that industry. I dabble in taxidermy, but I am not skilled enough to take a kidney out of someone and put it in someone else and have one of them live.
I don't know, I really like her. I think she's supposed to come off as bitchy, but she just comes off as overly sarcastic to me.
Taxidermy is a hobby of mine. Whenever I find a dead animal, I take it home and I stuff it. And then I save them, and when I have enough of them collected, I take them to dying children in the children's hospital. Because children love stuffed animals. I like to visit kids in the cancer ward. Yeah, I ask them to draw me a picture, and then I trade them for one of the stuffed animals. It makes them feel better to barter. No one wants to be pitied, just given stuff. Even kids dying of cancer. I save all the pictures they give me. They say that a piece of art at least doubles in value once the artist dies, and I'm sure their parents will pay top dollar in about a decade. People don't barter enough these days. They don't haggle enough either. For instance, if someone has a poster for a lost pet and they offer a $100 reward, now in my experience, most people would just take the $100 and be happy. I try to haggle a little. I'll go for at least $150. I mean, no one posts their best offer on a flyer that's going on a telephone pole. Yeah. I return lost pets to their owners as a side hustle. See, whenever I see a flyer that has a reward offered and a phone number, I take it down. And then I post the flyer with my phone number and I offer half the reward. Then someone else finds the pet, returns it to me. Then I do a nice little markup, call the original phone number, and reunite the pet with its parent for profit. Does very well. I think everyone should have hobbies. I like taxidermy and sensory deprivation. I made my own sensory deprivation tank once. I like to lie in it and be alone with my thought. It's very peaceful in there. I slept in it once. It's like sleeping in a coffin. Have you ever tried sleeping in a coffin? It's relaxing. It's cozy. There's extra layers of noise insulation in case you have loud neighbors. I slept in one back when I had college roommates. Oh, I didn't actually go to college, but I lived in student housing after high school. See, you don't actually have to be a student to live there. I hated having roommates, but it's all I could afford. I bought my own place as soon as I could, but they kicked me out. I bought a burial plot. No one told me I wasn't allowed to move in until I was dead. That is a stupid rule. I should have sued them. But they agreed to give me my money back as long as I took my coffin and left.
What? What is even going on? She bought a burial plot to sleep in? I don't know if she's being serious or if she's joking. It's so hard to tell with her. She sounds like she's just overly sarcastic about everything.
High school is awful. I mean, you undergo years of traumatic experiences, and then when you finally escape, they invite you back for a reunion so that you can go spend more time with the same people who made your childhood traumatic. I don't understand it. Do survivors of other traumatic experiences have reunions? I mean, do people who lived through a plane crash get together and reminisce about the turbulence they experienced before it all went pear-shaped? I've never been in a plane crash. I fly all the time, but every flight has always been incident-free. I guess I'm just not very lucky. I don't understand reunions or nostalgia in general. People cling to the past like it was the best part of their lives. But do you know what most people spent most of the past doing? Waiting for the future to come so their miserable lives would improve. Really makes no sense to me. I don't live in the past. I look to the future. I am so ready to be in the future. The second my contract is up, I am out of here. I am retiring to someplace very far away with very few people, and I am never going to think about Las Vegas again. Can't wait for that. Yeah, I want to see what the future holds, because I'm done here.
Okay, so we've now learned that she doesn't want to have a future in Las Vegas. So we're going to go back to Mr. Davenport, and we're going to tell him that she is not a suitable client for running the hotel when he passes. So we're going to do that right now.
What's this?
Hey Novus, how are you doing today? This is an FMV game, full motion video game with real actors. It's called Vegas Tales. Basically, we're playing a assistant for Mr. Davenport, who is hiring potential clients, who is interviewing potential clients to take over his casino resort, because he is passing of cancer and he only has a week or two to live. So basically, we are playing an interactive full motion video game where we have to interview all of the clients and find out if they are suitable candidates to run his hotel and casino for him. It's kind of not a game for everybody, but I am really into FMV games, and I kind of have played a lot of them on my YouTube channel, and this is a recently released FMV game, so I figured I'd stream it on my channel. I should note that I am still going to be doing the main games today. So after this, I'm going to be doing Road 96 again. And then we're going to be doing more Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, in the evening. Because this game is not terribly long. It's about an hour's worth, I would say. An hour and a half.
Well, that's surprising. I would have thought she'd be more emotionally invested in the Bellflower after running her magic act here for so long. I guess I must have misjudged her.
Alright, so Ashley is done. We learned that she doesn't want to stay in Vegas, so she is not a suitable candidate. We've already informed that to Mr. Davenport. Now let's interview our next potential person who it could possibly run the hotel and casino. So this is Mallory. We'll start by...
South Park.
Do I watch South Park? Not that often. I've seen a couple of episodes. I'm not a big South Park fan. Nor am I a big Family Guy fan. I may do the characters from Family Guy, but I'm not a big fan of Family Guy. Yeah, South Park, it's okay. I mean, I have the games, and I love the games. So I got the Stick of Truth and the Fractured Butthole. So I have those two, and I enjoy them. But I'm not really a big fan of the show.
What is there to say? I guess I'm a little bit down on my luck right now between jobs. I had 2 job interviews
Hartman is my
earlier
favorite.
this week, and I'm hoping to have more soon. I don't like to admit this usually, but it might be important for your book. I'm actually homeless currently. It might surprise you that I actually came from a fairly wealthy family. My dad was some sort of hotshot furniture salesman, and my mom was a cable TV installer. We actually owned our own house. It was double wide. But yeah, I guess I always thought I'd be a big success like my parents, and I guess it's just all right that they're not around anymore so that they don't have to see what my life has turned into, you know. I didn't exactly meet their high expectations.
Yeah, everybody likes Cartman, right? Yeah, you will respect my authority, okay? The Cartman I do an impression of is the original one, not the new voice, because apparently, what's his name, Matt Stone, or is it Trey Parker, one of them, who voices Cartman. Originally he had a really loud, kind of pissed off voice, and it started to hurt their throat really badly. So they ended up lowering his voice, and now he's more calm than he used to be back in the early episodes of South Park. But yeah, yeah. So anyway, we're gonna be interviewing Mallory again. Let's see, parents not around. So as you can see, when I ask her questions, she answers them, then it brings up more questions based on what she has told me. The overall goal here is to find out if they're interested in running the hotel and casino, or if they're going to be around to do such a thing. So we will continue to interview her until we learn if she will be a suitable candidate. Then we go on to this family, the Goodley family, which honestly, these people drive me nuts. They're just too... they're something. You'll see. And then this boyfriend and girlfriend. And then that's it for the game. After we do that, at the ending, once we interview all the clients, we go back to Mr. Davenport and we tell him who we think would be a suitable client. We'll be able to choose from all 4 of these. And we choose who we think would be a suitable client to run his hotel and casino.
Oh, I've been an orphan almost my entire life. Yeah, my parents died in a fishing accident when I was really little. The only living relative I have is my Uncle Albert, but we don't really talk at all. He's been in and out of prison my whole life. My Uncle Albert? Oh, he goes back to prison all the time. He's actually serving a life sentence, but he keeps escaping. I don't know how he keeps getting out, but the guards catch him and put him right back in. Albert is from the dark side of my family. We didn't like to associate with them very much growing up. We were always a little bit ashamed to be related to Albert's side of the family, to be honest. I mean, I know that I'm not some great success or anything like that, but at least I'm trying to better myself. Albert's mom was a lawyer, and his dad was a member of Congress for over a decade. It's like they didn't even try to have honest jobs. My parents used to take me fishing on the southern coast of Alabama. I don't think we were supposed to be fishing at the spot they found, but there was never anybody around to tell us to leave, so we did it anyway. It was really nice, and almost like a real vacation. Anyway, we didn't have a real boat. We had just 3 of those floating pool chairs that we'd like paddle out and just sit there and fish. It was really relaxing. Anyway, one day my parents caught an undertow and the current pushed them out deep into the ocean. So luckily I managed to get to shore, but it took me a while to find anyone for help. The authorities searched and searched for them, but all they could find were their pool chairs, empty. It was really bad, but I was placed into the foster care system. My first job interview was for a job selling jewelry. I didn't have any experience, so they said they couldn't hire me. My second job interview was at an adult video store. They needed someone to clean up those video booths after customers used them. I also didn't have any experience with this, but I really wanted the job, so I lied and said that I'd been doing it for 15 years already in 3 different cities. I thought for sure they were going to hire me, but for some reason they didn't. I guess that was karma telling me that I shouldn't have lied. I wasn't always homeless. Actually, when I was in Alabama, I had 3,000 square feet to myself. I felt like a wealthy land baron or something, but I didn't have a house on the land, but I did have a really nice tent at first. It was great. I lived there for a full year before I could save up for a house. Well, not a house. I actually bought an 8-foot by 10-foot shed that was fantastic. It was just as good as a house. Had a roof, 4 walls, a window, a door, everything I needed. I don't know why more people don't just live in sheds. That was the nicest place I ever lived. Unfortunately, 2 weeks after I bought that shed, it was swallowed in a sinkhole. So there was really nothing left for me in Alabama. I decided to chase my childhood dream and move to Albuquerque. Ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to move to a big city. You know, one of those places that musicians write songs about? A place like Albuquerque. When I finally moved to Albuquerque, it exceeded my expectations. All the glitz, all the glamour, it was incredible. And the best part was the people were really nice. It was great. I'd probably still be there today if it weren't for the puppy incident.
I'm sorry, what? What? The puppy incident? You have to tell me about this. You have to tell me about this puppy incident.
A little boy had lost his dog, and the entire community banded together to try to find it. Every business had some sort of poster in the window asking for people to find the dog, and I actually came across the dog, but unfortunately it was already dead, so I buried it. And then I wanted to do that thing that they do in TV shows where you replace one dead animal with a new alive animal that looks the same. So I went to every pet store in town until I found a dog that looked like the dog that I had buried, that had died. I brought it to the little boy's family, and they seemed so happy. It was great, until about 2 weeks after that when I found out the truth. The little boy and his family weren't looking for a lost pet. Unfortunately, they were looking for a dog that had bitten the little boy. They wanted the dog to see if the dog had rabies. Since I didn't bring the correct dog back, they couldn't test the dog, and it turns out the dog that bit the little boy did have rabies. That's why he died. The story doesn't have a happy ending for the little boy, and I couldn't face the townspeople anymore, so I had to move out of Albuquerque.
So basically, you killed a little boy. Yeah, okay. Well, I think we're done with this interview.
I wasn't in the foster care system for very long. When I was 9, I was placed with a foster family, but unfortunately, my foster parents died the first night that I was with them. A burglar broke in and murdered them. My foster mom was able to call the police, but by the time they arrived, they were already dead. And the police couldn't find the burglar anywhere. The prosecutor on the case assumed that I had murdered my foster parents, and even accused me of killing my birth parents. So he got the judge to sign off that I was going to be tried as an adult instead of a child, even though I was only 9. Luckily, they did find the real killer, and it turns out he was just really good at hiding, and he was in a crawl space under the house. So, unfortunately, due to this legal loophole that in Alabama, I was now considered legally an adult, so I was out of the foster care system, and I had to find a job, so I worked in a coal mine. It wasn't the work I wanted to be doing, but it paid something. And then when I was 18, I moved out of Alabama. I didn't have much money saved up, so I had to hop onto a train like they do in the movies. Only it wasn't exactly like how they do it in the movies because there were no big empty cars with those open sides that you could just hop right onto. The best I could find was a small platform that stuck out from the train a couple of inches. I was able to put my feet on that, and then there was a handle that I could cling to. I figured that I could just stay like that for an hour and then I'd be across state lines, but unfortunately, the train picked up a lot of speed and I was stuck clinging onto the train up until Detroit. Well, I hadn't intended on going to Detroit, but since I was there, I decided to make the most out of it. I got a job as the mascot at a children's restaurant. It was kind of a cheap ripoff of Chuck E. Cheese. And I had a costume that wasn't so much a cute mouse as a scary rat. But luckily, the kids didn't seem to mind too much, but I was only there for a little bit anyway. The first time I got my paycheck, I went to the bank and I was still in my rat costume. And unfortunately, 2 bank robbers came in also in costume. So when the police showed up, they assumed that I was with them and arrested me along with them. I was able to sort things out at the police station and I got off, but my picture in costume was already in the newspaper, so my boss didn't like seeing his mascot on the front page of the newspaper for bank robbery, so I got fired.
What the hell? Oh my god. Jesus.
I used to work at the Bellflower as a professional gambler. That's actually how I met Mr. Davenport. His security guards thought that I was cheating, actually, so they brought me in for hours and hours of questioning. Thankfully, they looked through the security footage and saw that I was not cheating. They could have just kicked me out, but Mr. Davenport was so kind, and he actually put me in a room for a full week to make up for the trouble that had been caused. This is the nicest hotel I've ever been in. Oh, that was the wildest thing. I actually ended up here in Vegas by accident, but while I was here, I figured I might as well try gambling. It turned out I was extremely bad at it, though, and I actually caught the eye of a wealthy man who asked me to be a professional gambler for him. So he would give me money to play craps, and then he would bet on me losing. And we actually made a great team, and he made a ton of money off me. But the casinos started noticing what was happening, and they started kicking us out. Mr. Davenport was the only one who was really nice about it, though. Well, I didn't mean to end up here, but I was on a bus on my way to Denver, and the bus stopped here, and I got off to use the bathroom, but I guess I took too long because when I came back out, the bus was gone, and it also had my luggage on it, so when I got here, all I had was the clothes on my back. But I'm glad it happened because I had a really good time here. Well, I wasn't in Denver proper, but I was about half an hour away at this ski resort very close by. Anyway, I worked at the ski resort first as a ticket salesperson, but then I studied and worked really hard to become a ski instructor. But sadly, like all my jobs, it didn't last. The first time I took a group out to go skiing, I was supposed to bring them to an intermediate level hill, but unfortunately I read the color coding wrong and I brought them to an advanced hill. There's a huge difference between an intermediate hill and an advanced hill. I, of course, lost my job. Oh, I've done it all. I've delivered pizzas, I had an ice cream truck, I worked in a pet shop, I even worked on a cruise ship. I've had some truly wonderful jobs, but sadly nothing ever worked out. That was the most amazing job I've ever had. It was also the shortest. Unfortunately, the first time that we went out, we actually hit an iceberg and sank like the Titanic. Some of the lifeboats got destroyed, but most people were able to get on one. The rest of us had to survive by climbing onto the iceberg.
What is with this girl's life? Oh my god. Okay.
After the ship sank, there were over 80 of us stranded on the iceberg, and we had no way to call for help, no food, no water. So out of desperation, we took off our clothes and we tried to form a sail out of them, hoping that we could ride the iceberg to shore. The sail we made out of our clothes didn't end up working, and it didn't move the iceberg at all. Actually, after an hour, it just blew away in the wind anyway, so we were just left there half naked and freezing. Luckily, a cargo ship came upon us, and they were able to rescue us from the iceberg. But we didn't speak their language, and they didn't speak English, so we couldn't explain to them why we were all half naked on an iceberg. They dropped us off in Quebec after a very awkward trip. I don't know what happened to the other survivors. When we got to Quebec, we all just separated. Hitchhiking back to the United States from Canada was really unpleasant. Everyone only spoke French, and I was still half naked. Luckily, someone did stop, and they had a pickup truck, so they let me sit in the back, and they stopped 20 miles from the New York border, which was great because I only had about a 6-hour walk back to the States. I know they say you shouldn't hitchhike because it's dangerous, but the thing is, I've had a lot of luck hitchhiking over the years. The first time that I hitchhiked, I was going from Detroit to Albuquerque, and these 3 really nice dudes in a hippie van picked me up. It turns out they were a traveling folk band, and they taught me how to drive so that I could drive down the highway while they were practicing in the back. It took a really long time to get to Albuquerque because they kept having to stop for shows, and we did have to camp in their van every night, but it was still great. You know, I've met my fair share of famous people over the year, but this was really cool because they were real musicians, and we got to get pretty close. Also, by the time we got to Albuquerque, I was so good at driving that I passed my driver's test the first time. I met Orville Redenbacher at the airport once. It was awesome. He was in line trying to get his luggage, and I thought, should I approach him or should I not? You know, I imagine a famous popcorn magnate like that is probably constantly having groups of people swarming him trying to get his autograph. But anyway, I decided to go for it. So I went up to him and I said, I love your popcorn commercials. And he was really flattered and turned out to be a super nice guy. He even signed my cast. Anyway, that was in 1997. I found out later that he had actually died in 1995, so it couldn't have been him, but it was a really nice old man, and it was still a really fond memory.
Wait, what? So you just went up to an old man at the airport, assumed it was Orville Redenbacher, had him sign your cast. What was the point of that story? Why wouldn't you? So you haven't met any famous people then? You've literally just met a guy who you thought was a famous person and forced him to sign your cast. You're a weird lady.
I broke my arm at the zoo. You know those signs that warn you not to feed the animals? Well, you should really pay attention to those. I tripped over one, landed on the sidewalk, and broke my arm. It was okay, though, because I had an appointment at the hospital later that day anyway, so I just had my doctor fix my arm then. Oh, I've been to the hospital a lot. I tend to get hurt pretty easily. You know, I've had so many x-rays and MRIs. I'm surprised I don't have superpowers. I've broken a few bones over the years. I've been in all kinds of accidents. A hunting accident, a skydiving accident, normal stuff like that. I broke my leg hunting. I was sitting in a tree with my friend and we had a few drinks and she told a really funny joke. Anyway, I was laughing so hard that I lost my balance and I actually fell out of the tree right on an 8-point buck. They still gave me credit for the kill. A beer walks into a bar and says, "Give me a whiskey and a cola." The bartender asks, "Why the long pause?" The beer shrugs and says, "I don't know, I was born with them."
What? Okay. Was that supposed to be a joke? I didn't catch it. Okay. That was something. All right. What the fuck?
Oh, I wasn't at the airport to catch a flight. Sadly, I've been homeless a few times throughout my life, and one of the tricks that I picked up was that you can go to an airport and pretty easily find a place to sleep. I think they're used to having people who need to find a quiet spot because their flight is delayed or there's a long layover, so it doesn't look too weird if you find a spot and just sleep there. But there is a trick, and that's to not overstay your welcome. So after 7 or 8 hours, you gotta get out of there. Also, you should never go back to the same airport twice unless a few years have passed. You know, I found a few creative places to sleep over the years. You just gotta know the tricks. A lot of homeless people will choose gas stations and fast food restaurants to sleep at overnight, but I think that's actually a really bad idea because they're out in the open and the employees are probably going to have to kick them out. So when I was homeless, I always made sure to find a very hidden spot. So, for instance, I once worked at a fast food restaurant and I noticed that there was a ladder out back. So I climbed it and there was a beautiful roof that I could sleep in. Anyway, I slept there every night that I was working there and just made sure that no one saw me go up and no one saw me come down. So I had my smartphone, thankfully, to set an alarm to make sure that I'd be down in time and also get to work in time. It was working really well for a few months, but then eventually someone did see me go up on the roof. They figured out that I was sleeping there and I did get fired, but, you know, I can't really blame them.
This girl's life is a mess. What the hell is going on right now? I don't think she's stable enough to run a hotel and casino. She sounds batshit insane.
I always thought that smartphones were such a waste of money, but honestly, once someone told me about the food delivery services and how much money you can make doing those, I had to get one. And I'm glad I did. It worked really well for a few days when I had my car. But sadly, all those miles really wore it out, and I had to bring it into the shop, and I just couldn't afford the repairs. So I ended up just getting a bus pass, and that was how I was making my food delivery runs. Didn't work quite as well. Actually, sometimes I would have to transfer to multiple buses, so it ended up taking like an hour to deliver something. Eventually, I just kind of stopped doing it. I wasn't making any money. I worked at a really fancy pizza place that had a big dining room and everything. It was great. Anyway, the owner, my boss, was trying to sell it, so the potential buyers were coming in to see it and to go over the books. The owner said that we had to look as busy as possible when they came in to make a good impression, so anytime there was extra space in any of the pizza ovens, we just started making cheese pizzas. I was given the cheese pizzas anytime I was making a delivery, and I was told that I needed to just throw them in the dumpster, but I felt really weird about doing that because the town had a lot of homeless people. So instead, I decided to do a good deed and pass them out to them instead. After the potential buyer had looked through the restaurant, he was being driven back by my boss to his hotel room, and On the way, I guess they saw about 20 homeless people with our very distinct pizza boxes. I don't know what he thought, but he didn't end up buying the place after all, and I lost my job. I got a job at a pet shop, but I only worked there a few weeks before I got fired, unfortunately. Before I worked there, I really didn't know anything about animals, so I did learn a lot on the job, thankfully. Anyway, my boss would have me open up, and then he'd come in a couple hours later, around noon. And one day, we got a hamster delivery, 2 hamsters, and my boss had left a note saying, put them in a fish tank. The thing is, my boss didn't specify it was supposed to be an empty fish tank, so I put them in a fish tank that had fish and water in it. It also had a lid on the top. Anyway, the hamsters almost drowned, but thankfully we had this machine that was pumping air into the bottom of the tank, so the little guys were really smart and they took turns breathing out of the air hose.
So not only are you insane, but you're also retarded as well, because you put gerbils in a fish tank with fish and water and a lid on top of the tank, and you expected them to survive. How are you even functioning as a human being? You seem to be really stupid and really crazy. I really don't think you're stable enough to run a resort and hotel. I'm sorry. Like, you seem completely oblivious to the world around you.
It was a dream of mine for a really long time to have my own ice cream truck. I love the idea of having my own business, being an entrepreneur, and selling wonderful sweet treats to people over jolly music. Anyway, it took a really long time, but eventually I did buy my own ice cream truck. Well, it wasn't actually an ice cream truck, it was an El Camino, and it had 2 freezers full of ice cream in the back, so anytime I wanted to sell ice cream, I'd just have to park and get out and go around back. It was great, and I'd still be doing it if I hadn't lost my license. I wasn't just selling ice cream out of my El Camino, I was also living in it. The ice cream chests in the back were plugged into the cigarette lighter inverter, so the engine had to be running at all times so that the ice cream wouldn't melt. This made it really hard to sleep. Anyway, one night I had a few drinks and I was trying to sleep, and of course the engine was still running so that the ice cream wouldn't melt, and a policeman came over to see what was happening. I didn't know this, but you can actually get a DUI if you're drinking while your engine's on, even if you aren't moving, so I ended up being sent to prison. I actually got really lucky with my prison sentence. I was sentenced to 3 months in prison, but they let me out after 2. Also, I was sent in right before Christmas, which was great because on Christmas Day, they gave everybody a delicious cinnamon bun. It was the best cinnamon bun I've ever had. I guess sometimes Lady Luck is on my side. Oh, he was a rich person just like you'd see in the movies. I mean, he had a 3-piece suit on with a jacket and a matching vest and everything. His car had a hood ornament on it, and he even had brown socks to match his brown shoes. I wouldn't know what to do with that kind of money. I think the first thing I might do would be to buy a monocle, though. I've wanted a monocle my whole life. I've had really bad vision in one of my eyes since I was a little girl. This one time I found a pair of glasses that had a missing lens, but the lens it did have was very close to my vision needs. So I had that. It was perfect. Almost perfect. The lens was on the wrong side, so I did have to wear them upside down. Eventually, I tried to take the lens out and put it in the correct side, but when I did, the lens cracked and I couldn't wear them anymore.
I'm sorry. What is going on? So you put gerbils in a fish tank with fish and water. You wear upside down glasses. You've been to jail. I don't even know what to think about this woman right now. She seems completely oblivious to the world. Can I go to the next person? Is this interview almost over? Please. Oh, this is just painful. Yeah, tell me about your stupid skydiving accident so we can just leave. Go home, please. Whatever home you live in. Cardboard box under a bridge, for all I know.
When you see people parachuting on TV and in movies, it seems like they're being gently lowered onto the ground like a feather. But I am here to tell you that is not the case. Even with the parachute, you're actually falling really fast and impact can be really rough. I found that out the hard way. I was walking around and a skydiver landed right on top of me. Actually broke my arm in 2 places and gave me a concussion. I never saw the skydiver again, which is too bad because I'll never have a chance to thank them.
What? What? You were walking around and a skydiver landed on top of you and broke your arm.
Well, if it weren't for them landing on me, I wouldn't have gotten a concussion, so I wouldn't have gone to the hospital, and they wouldn't have given me an MRI, so I never would have found my brain tumor. They say there's nothing they can do for me, but at least now I know I only have 3 or 4 months left to live, so I can start checking things off my bucket list.
Well, damn, that took a dark turn. Okay, so she is definitely not able to run a hotel and casino if she only has 3 or 4 months left to live. So we should probably go back to good old Tuvok here. Mallory has an untreatable brain tumor. She's dying. She only has a year or 2 to live.
That poor woman never catches a break, does she? I don't suppose it would be logical to leave a hotel to someone who's not going to be alive much longer than I am.
Yay, now we're at the goodly family.
These people are so... I don't even know how to describe them. We're just gonna go into them, but they're too nice. To the point where I want to vomit on them. Anyway.
We love this hotel. We come here every year on vacation.
We take a lot of family vacations together. The only thing better than seeing the world is seeing the world together.
This is my favorite vacation we take. I love coming here to Vegas.
That is true. It's all she talks about for months leading up to the trip.
I do get pretty excited about our vacation time.
I'm Alice Goodley.
I'm Walter, and this is Sarah.
It's so nice to meet you.
We're from Utah. We are very lucky to live there. Our neighborhood is just dandy. But then again, I guess everybody says that about their hometowns.
We have friendly neighbors, a brand new school, and the best darn volunteer fire department you could ask for.
Well, it's not perfect, though. Crime has been on the rise lately.
Oh, that's true. Last Halloween, 2 houses got toilet papered.
Yeah, a bunch of us pitched in, and we got those houses cleaned up by noon. Still, it was kind of disappointing to know that something like that could happen only a few blocks away.
Cleaning up all that toilet paper was really fun, though.
That's our Sarah, always looking on the bright side of any situation.
Being on the volunteer fire department is considered a huge honor in our town.
There are too many volunteers every year, and they can only let in so many people, so it's very competitive.
Well, the exception is on Thanksgiving. During the parade, they make everyone in town an honorary member. It's a nice gesture, and everyone gets very excited about it.
We go all out for Thanksgiving.
We go all out for all holidays in general. You should visit on Independence Day. We have a top-notch fireworks show every year.
Oh, and don't forget about the Easter egg hunt. That's my favorite. You'd think the hunt was just about the kids, but it's just as much fun for us grown-ups, too. The night before the hunt, all the adults get together and spend a few hours hiding the eggs. The next day, all the kids spend a few hours looking for them. It's like the adults get to play too.
Sarah takes hiding Easter eggs very seriously. Some of the places she finds to hide them are downright diabolical.
Well, I remember what it was like hunting for eggs as a kid. The best feeling was when you'd find an egg in a hard-to-find spot. If someone doesn't hide them in places like that, then the kids won't get a chance to feel like that.
Sarah never does anything without giving it her best effort. You should hear her music lessons.
Sarah's learning to play the piano.
I'm not that good, but I'm trying really hard to get better.
Well, at the rate she's improving, though, she might be a famous musician by this time next year.
She's exaggerating. I wouldn't want to be famous anyway. Piano for me is just like a hobby, like you're knitting or Daddy's gardening.
I like to make sure my family's eating at least some natural organic food.
Everything is so processed these days.
WTF is
What
this?
is the difference when you eat fresh vegetables straight from the garden?
Daddy works really hard on his garden.
I don't consider it work. I enjoy it. Plus, it gives me a chance to spend time outside.
Adults are weird. They can do anything they want, but if they want to, I don't know, play in the yard, they won't do it unless they find an excuse.
I love Sarah's outlook on life.
Hey there, AV. So this is a FMV game. I do cover FMV games occasionally on my YouTube channel. They're full motion video interactive movies, essentially, with real actors. So in this one, we are interviewing potential clients to take over a hotel resort for Mr. Davenport, played by Tim Russ, best known as Tuvok in Star Trek Voyager. So basically, we are interviewing these 4 potential clients for him to find out which one is suitable to take over a hotel, resort, and casino that he owns, because he is dying of cancer. He is dying of cancer and only has 1 week to live. So basically, we are interviewing these 4 clients. I've already conducted these 2 interviews. These 2 were not suitable clients, so they're no longer in the picture. Now we're interviewing this family, and then finally we're interviewing this boyfriend and girlfriend. But yes, so that's what we're doing. And then at the very ending, after we conduct all our interviews, we go back to Mr. Davenport and we tell him who we think would be a suitable client to own the hotel and casino. The game has multiple endings, multiple different outcomes. We're just playing it once, and then after that we're going to be going into Road 96, which is a randomly generated first-person adventure game. And then tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be going back into LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Oh, okay, I think I might have just encountered a glitch. We just got to a black screen here. Wow. It's not even letting me quit. There's not many options here, is there? Okay, so I don't know what I'm gonna do here now then.
Okay, and I like the family.
Huh. Well, I just encountered another game glitch. I seem to be encountering these a lot lately. It's like games don't like me or something. So I guess I won't be streaming this now. Yeah. How strange. Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to come back to this game another time, unfortunately, because this is not working. So thank you very much to Eevee Hero for tuning in today, and Novus for tuning in today. It's always greatly appreciated. If you like what you see, I mean, within reason. If you like what you don't see, if you like what you see, please consider liking and subscribing. I cover PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC, and VR games. I can, but if I restart the game, then it's going to I'll have to end the stream. Because it automatically terminates the live stream as soon as I quit the game. So what I think I'll do is I'll just end this for today, and we'll go back into the rest of this tomorrow, and continue where we left off, because hopefully that'll work then. Which is fine, because I still have 2 other games left to stream right now. So it's unfortunate this glitch happened, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. We already streamed for about an hour anyway, so yeah, we'll come back to this game tomorrow, and we'll continue with interviewing the last 2 clients, and hopefully it works. If not, well, then I'll probably just end up erasing the stream. But I think it'll work. I think it should work. These things happen occasionally. But anyway, yes. If you like what you see or don't see, please consider liking and subscribing. I cover PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC, and VR games. If any of that interests you, please consider liking and subscribing. Over on my YouTube channel, you'll find a playlist section devoted to all of my previous live streams. Say, as an example, you missed some of LEGO Star Wars, which I will be streaming tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Simply go over to my playlist section, look up Star Wars, the LEGO Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, and you'll find all of the previous live streams in there. You'll also find in my playlist section a joint collaboration section. This is a section where I've worked with other YouTubers. You can find their videos in that section. If you like what you see in those videos, consider liking and subscribing to those YouTubers as well. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. I hope you had fun with what you did see, and I will be back in about an hour or two's time. We're going to be going into Rogue 96. Rogue 96 is an open world, first-person, randomly generated game. And it's a lot of fun. You never know what you're going to encounter in this game, because every time you play it, it's always different. So we're going to be going into that next, and then later tonight, we're going to be going back into LEGO Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga, Episode 8, the one after 7, the one after The Force Awakens. I can't remember, the Last Jedi, I think it's called. Yeah, I think it's The Last Jedi. So we're going to be going into that tonight. Star Wars, LEGO Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. So we're going to be doing that tonight at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be back in about, let's see, it's 2:52 p.m. right now. I'd say let's shoot for 4:30 p.m. and we're going to be going into Road 96. So thank you once again for everybody who tuned in today. It's greatly appreciated. I apologize for this game glitch. Unfortunately, these things are not within my control. I do hope that the game developer ends up releasing a patch to fix this, because that'd be nice. But in the meantime, I will see you guys soon. We will try to stream this again tomorrow and finish up the rest of the interviews. Thank you very much once again. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you all soon at the Gamers Grotto. Take care.